Hello again, sweet magic makers. Welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be for those witches that like to have a nosy around other witches' altar spaces. I know that I personally do. I like to have a little look what is going on. And today I'm going to take you on a tour around my main working altar. So I have 3 altars in my home, but we're going to have a little look around, Maddox Witchy HQ, basically the big daddy altar that's in my bedroom. And I want to show you 13 separate items on the altar that I'm really loving right now and talk to you a little bit about the meaning behind those various objects, why they are there, why they matter to me, why I feel like they have power and they deserve to be on the altar. So hopefully you will enjoy understanding a little bit more about the anatomy of my altar right now. So leave a comment down below as you're watching this. Let me know if there's any specific item on your altar right now that you're really loving. Doesn't matter whether it's traditional or a little bit more out of the box. Some of the things I'm going to be showing you from my altar are quite out of the box, but I know a lot of you witches that watch me are like that. And hit a like on the video if you want to see more content of this nature. It really helps my channel when you do that. Okay, come over to my main working space and let me show you my shinies and my random bits and pieces, darlings. Number 1, the first item I want to mention is my plate of jewellery that you can see on my main working altar. I have a very deep esoteric connection to jewellery, and a lot of my pieces I've had for years and years, and they have very specific histories and stories behind them. Other pieces I picked up because they felt beautiful and powerful, and I wanted them to be a part of my collection. I don't play favourites with my jewellery, but I do rotate my jewellery, and I do cleanse it, bless it, consecrate it, program it, cleanse it again, reprogram it. I plan out sometimes the jewelry that I'm going to wear to a specific event, and I do pick out pieces for specific reasons or to kind of bring in a specific mood or intention. So you can often find a plate of jewelry on my altar, and actually it has a dual purpose. It's there for the reason it's intended to be there, but also because it looks beautiful. I love my altar looking like a little bit of a random jewelry boutique. So yeah, what you can see in the plate right now is stuff that is being cleansed, and I'm very excited to then take a few of the pieces and reprogram them for things. I sometimes just like to leave my jewelry options on the altar too, just bathing in the energy that I've created. The energy signature of my main working space is really, really high powered. So sometimes I just let a few of my chains or bracelets or necklaces or rings kind of like, marinate on there essentially. By the way, if any of you are like real jewelry magpies like me, you might enjoy my over an hour long jewelry tour / jewelry organization video where I talk a lot about my relationship with jewelry as a witch. I will leave that down below if you fancy it. The second thing that I want to mention on my altar right now are the 2 notebooks that you can see on there. So one of them has the beautiful handprint and the beautiful kind of like gold stuff on it, and the other one has really pretty like embossed witchy symbols on it. They both have a similar sort of vibe. I bought the one with the hand on it, and the smaller sort of flip notebook was a gift that was sent to me by a beautiful client, and they both kind of live together because I just think they're really very much giving off the same vibe and they complement each other. I'm working on some esoteric poems in the flip notepad, and then the larger book, I've been a little bit confused what I'm doing with it. There's a few different things in it. There's sort of, I've started something in the middle, something in the back, and something in the front. So who fucking knows what it is right now, but it's basically like words of power essentially. Mostly what I'm using it for is to record certain words of power that I'm hoping to later be able to use in inspiring videos for you guys. So it's kind of like a creative project that has a very witchy foundation, but that I'm going to be using to inspire you guys as well. Number 3, does anybody else end up with books on their altar quite regularly? I have very regularly got books on my altar, either that I'm referencing or I'm actually reading while I'm at my altar space, or just books that represent something to me that I've read or maybe read more than once, and I want them there for that energetic feeling that they bring to the equation. I have a small book stack at the moment, and it contains a small volume of Dylan Thomas's poetry. Dylan Thomas is my favourite poet. I have a very spiritual connection to him. You can click down below for my Dylan Thomas pilgrimage vlog. I also have a book here called Yes, I Am a Destroyer by MIRA MATTAR. She's a friend of mine. She is an absolutely insane writer, and this book is like one long incantation. I've actually travelled with this book through so many different cities because I can't help but grab it and take it with me in my bag. It's so beautiful. She is insanely talented. I've also got a book of Japanese death poems on here that I'm reading through. Incredible and so inspiring for a sort of series of incantations that I'm trying to write at the moment, for some spell workings I'm planning. Yeah, great books. Love to have a book stack on the altar. It's such a vibe. The fourth object that I really want to show you is this beautiful flat circular stone. This was found for me by my best friend years ago out in the wild, and he brought it to me and said that he thought I might like it for my altar, and I turned it into my tarot shuffling stone. Isn't it so annoying when you're shuffling tarot on your altar cloth and then you pick the cards up and the altar cloth kind of gets dragged up with it, especially if, like me, you like to wear mermaid drag queen nails every now and again or whatever. So having the stone there was just so useful, and I've shuffled cards on that stone for years. Very, very unfortunately, late last year, my best friend lost his beloved pet of many, many moons, his beautiful leopard gecko, Vela. And he has been going through the mourning process around that. He had her for such a long time, and she was a majestic animal. We decided that to mark her gravesite at his mother's house, we're going to use the stone, but repurpose it by painting it with a gecko and her name on it and everything. Well, I ended up putting that stone to one side so that we could do that for her, you know, gravesite, and I misplaced the stone accidentally, temporarily. Now I've found it again. I literally found it last night while I was going through some of my witchy bits, and I was like, there it is. So I'm just popping it on the altar to give it a nice little charge up before we do the painting ritual process, and then the stone will actually go and be with her, because we did used to use it to put into the sink sometimes when she had a bad shed. If anyone has reptiles that shed, you'll know exactly what I mean by this. Whenever she had a bad shed, we would pop her on that stone and then run the water so that she wasn't, you know, always in the water, but actually she was stood on the stone, and we could kind of like pour some water over her to help her with the sort of like dried on skin. So it's actually really precious because she stood on it so many times. So it's going to be repurposed. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's really special, this stone. It's had a massive journey with me through my entire tarot business. I've had it for like 13 years now. I think he gave it to me literally the first year he met me. So it's really beautiful that it's now going to be with Vela, and it's going to commemorate her after all this time. Number 5, at the moment, one of my absolute hands down favorite things on my main altar is this card with a beautiful note in it from Ysha, the activist witch. When I met up with her in Swansea, it was just like this really magical time. You can see it in my Dylan Thomas pilgrimage vlog. We met up and she gave me this beautiful gift, and it came with this really gorgeous card. I'm not going to reveal to you anything that's in the note, but it was so special and it touched me so much. I've had the card on my altar since I returned from my birthday trip in December. So hopefully, Ysha, this won't embarrass you too much, darling. But yes, your card did end up on my altar space, and it really nicely reminds me actually of a couple of months ago when I went to Swansea again, and I met up with Ysha and her partner Raven and Imogen, the sapling tarot, and that was absolutely awesome to meet up with the three of them and just like, yeah, do that whole thing. And we did a live for Witches for Palestine. So basically, it just gives me a lot of good feelings. That card just makes me feel all kinds of goodness. I'd be really interested actually to know how many of you end up putting things like special cards or love letters or really nice inscripted birthday tags from presents you got. Like, who puts things on their altar that are written by the hands of loved ones, you know, that you just want to have it there to hang out for a little while and just imbibe all of the gorgeousness of knowing that, like, that's a special thing that someone wrote for me or that somebody gave me alongside a gift, or it's a love letter, you know. My partner writes me beautiful love letters that are sealed with the wax stamp and seal, and I do the same for him. We both had the wax stamp and seal before we met each other, so sometimes love letters from my partner hang out on the altar as well before they go into the special box where I keep them together. I'm such a sap. Oh my goddess, I can't believe I just said that in a video, but it is the truth. Number 6, it will not surprise any of you to know that there is indeed a box hanging out on my altar at the moment. It is part of a working, as you can probably see from the way it's presented here on the altar, that you can see I have done things with it, okay? It's in the middle of something right now, okay? This box is engaged. It is not vacant. It is engaged. I just love box magic, and I love boxes in general, and I think there's something really magical about them, and I always have. I made a video about my relationship with boxes as a witch and my ideas about box magic. If you want to get into box magic, or you've always known that boxes are special and you collect them but you don't know how to use them in witchcraft, click down below. Okay, I've got a video with your name on it. Oh, just started raining again outside. Number 6, I've got to mention my disco ball. I really don't think I could make a video about things I love on my main working altar and not mention the disco ball, which has been a permanent fixture for quite a few years now. I love disco balls. I often have said that if I was any object in the world, I would be a disco ball. I think it represents me so perfectly. It's ridiculous, it's irreverent, it reminds everybody of beautiful times, dancing, talking, music, right? So many things that I love as a human being. It reminds me of my time, at raves with friends, at festivals, It makes me think about so many gorgeous times of connection and transpersonal experience, just being in the rave, being in the party. It also reminds me of like interesting points in history, like I love thinking about people dancing under disco balls during the disco era. And so it really taps me into that kind of like magical Scarface dance floor kind of vibe. It gives me a lot of different like visions and exciting references, art references, fashion references, and disco balls are just genuinely beautiful objects, I made myself a disco ball earring with a mini disco ball that once belonged to my brother, who's no longer around, no longer with us in the earthly realm. And he also loved a disco ball at a rave, and so I made an earring out of the mini disco ball that I inherited from him. So there's just a lot of emotion behind disco balls for me. There's just something special and comforting about them, and so I always keep a disco ball on my altar. If there is a single person right now watching this video who gets what the fuck I mean, hit me up down below, okay? Disco ball witchy crew. Number 8 is a little bit of an intimate object to talk about in terms of like my emotions around it, so I won't spend too terribly long on it, but basically it's a small jar of tiger balm. As you can see, I use tiger balm, and I have often over the years used it for my back injury, and I always have some tiger balm in my rucksack when I go away to festivals or when I visit hotels and I'm going to be sleeping in a different bed. It's a really, really soothing thing. Red tiger balm has long been something that I use, but the reason that this jar is special is because it was my brother's last jar of tiger balm. He used it as well, and sometimes we would put it on together because we both had injuries essentially that tiger balm was useful for, and just sort of like we both were ravers and walkers and all that jazz, so we both love tiger balm. The scent of it is very specific, and I kind of had to rework my relationship with that after losing him. So this is the last jar that he had in his possession, and I have always kept it and felt some very, very giant things towards it. And that's all I'm going to say about that one. Let me know down below if you feel like you can, if you have anything, any objects on your altars from loved ones that are no longer with us here in the earthly realm. Let me know. Yeah, I would be really curious to know how you incorporate that into your altars, or if you maybe feel like you can't yet. I know that I couldn't for a very long time, but I've come to that point now at the 4-year mark where I feel like that is a part of the grieving process and the healing process that I'm feeling more comfortable with, and I feel like it's the appropriate time for me. Everything in its own time. The grieving process is very personal. You have to really lean into what is the right thing for you to do. And I know that for me, it would still be way too fucking early to have like a photograph of him or anything like that on the altar. But yes, the tiger balm, that's made its way on there. So I'm going to take that as some kind of significant progress in my grieving journey. Number 9 is one that I know a lot of you will enjoy. It is my little tea set. I always loved these mini tea sets. I had a few different ones when I was a kid growing up. Like I would randomly get a little mini tea set for Christmas or whatever, or there'd be like a little play set that my mum would get me once in a while, and there'd be a mini tea set in it. It used to be kind of a big thing, okay, when millennials were kids. Hit me up, millennials, if you remember little mini tea sets, right? Like if you had one or a sibling had one or whatever. I really loved them. I adore them still, and I think there's just something really magical about a mini tea Teaset. I do have a poppet that looks like me, that I dress up like me, that you can see in a previous video about poppets. I'll leave it down below for you. And sometimes I sit her next to the Teaset, but right now it's just the Teaset on there. Guys, it just fills my imagination. It makes my inner child happy. It just makes me feel fizzy and creative and playful, you know? I think play is a very sort of like strong aspect of my magic and my witchy life. So yeah, the Teaset had to get a mention in my favorite altar pieces at the moment. Another thing that I really want to mention, okay, number 10, another very playful aspect of my altar setup right now is this cute, charming little cake toy, okay? I picked her up at a service station on the way to Edinburgh. My partner and I booked flights to Edinburgh to go up there for Burns Night in January. Our flight was cancelled because the weather was so horrendous, and we decided rather than miss this most exceptional night in Scotland, we were going to drive up there. It took hours. And it was so romantic. And I sat awake the whole time talking with him, and we just listened to loads of music. It was a really, really beautiful trip. And on the way, or maybe it was on the way back, I don't know, we drove both ways. I was in the service station and I picked up this little cake toy, and my partner came round the corner and was like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "Look, she's so cute." And he bought her for me, and I named her Cakey Jane. And this is just exactly the kind of object that I feel absolutely no shame about owning and loving and thinking is so cute at my big old age, okay? I just do not care. Every so often I need something like this that's playful and adorable. And because it reminds me of such a beautiful moment with so much inspirational energy and so much Edinburgh and so much Burns Night and so much passion with my lover, that I've just had to put it on the altar, okay? Because it just reminds me of a great fucking weekend. And that really is something that is so underrated, I think, sometimes with altar setups. When we look at the more trad setups and it's like, okay, I've got my pentacle, chalice, wand, athame, I've got this, I've got that, I've got my two gods. And it's like, what about the fucking toy you picked up in the middle of the night at a service station? What about the stuff that's bloody silly but taps you in to who you really are in your soul? Is there no room for that kind of shit? Please, come on now. Number 11, this is a beautiful little object. You can see it's like this gorgeous glass vial. I thrifted it ages ago. And at the moment, it contains some tea, some consecrated special tea for something specific that I'm actually going to be drinking this evening as part of a ritual. I just love it. I love glass bottles and all that. I mean, come on. What witch doesn't love a fucking glass bottle, guys? Come on, tell me true. But it's really, really nice for me to work with tea. I think tea is really sacred. I'm obsessed with tea, massive tea drinker. Okay, I've got a few teapots. I've got a bit of tea paraphernalia. I'm not going to lie to you. And it's very cool to have this vial on there that I know I'm just going to like sip later on. So yeah, tea, whenever I can incorporate it and whenever it also looks boss as hell, I'm happy. So yes, there is a vial of tea on my altar. There is intention that has been placed into it, and it is going to be consumed later, nice and cold.
Oh, it's nice, eh? Nice and cold.
Number 12 is a mini Polaroid picture that I took with my Polaroid Go camera, and I really, really love this picture. It's a photo of my beautiful, beautiful friend Izzy. I went down to Brighton to see her for her birthday and gave her a big stack of presents, okay? Presents that I had carefully thought through and that I could not wait to see her open. And this is her just a couple of seconds before she ripped all the wrapping off, and it was just a really beautiful, joyful moment. I love Izzy so much. She means so much to me. She was my brother's girlfriend, and we have been very, very close and mutually supportive of each other in ways that I really don't think many people could imagine since my brother's death. So she just really is important to me, and having this Polaroid on the altar is a way for me to say that I am still channeling so many high vibes and strength and goodness and positivity for her into this coming year of her life, and really just like sending intention to her every time I sit at my altar. I see that photo and I'm like, baby, I've got you. I've got you, and I always will do, you know? So it's just like a memory of a beautiful moment, but it's linked into something that I want to continue to send intention towards for her. Number 13, it was really, really hard to choose the 13th thing, because I kind of wanted to choose my portrait of Joan of Arc, which is a staple at my altar space. It's always on the main working altar. I always have a portrait of Joan of Arc, and I have for many years, and I do work with Joan of Arc. So I was going to mention that, okay, because it is amazing. and I do fucking love it. But I was like, you know what? That's always there. I do love it, but I really want to mention this, okay? I want to mention these flowers. You might think to yourself, Kellyanne, it's just a mason jar with some flowers in it. Okay, so many witches have that. Let's move on. It's not an exciting thing. But the reason that I want to mention these flowers is because I bought them for myself a couple of days ago on a main character walk. Does anyone else go on main character walks? You know, like you get a makeup look going if you're into that. You grab a coffee, you choose an outfit, you get into a certain mood, you select a playlist, maybe you've even made a playlist in advance, and then you go on a walk, like somewhere that you haven't been before or somewhere familiar that you haven't visited for a while that you really love. You go on some kind of journey, you go on some kind of like mini solo expedition, but it has that cinematic feel to it where you feel like you're really on a date with yourself. I did that a couple of days ago. It was an amazing walk and I bought flowers for myself on the way home. So I wanted to mention my main character walk flowers. I just love them. It was quite a large bouquet, so I have half of them in my kitchen and half of them here. And it just fills my heart, you know, because they're not just flowers. They're flowers that I bought for myself very intentionally in a romantic gesture towards myself in that moment. Darlings, thank you so much for joining me for this one. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice light-hearted little sojourn through some of the bits and pieces that are filling my heart up at the altar. I very much look forward to reading your comments and finding out what is going on at your altar spaces. And for those who cannot have an altar space right now in the physical, get that astral build going, okay? Make yourself an astral altar, and don't forget that one of the pages of your like book of shadows or whatever can totally be an altar space. Just put a little collage in there, open it up, put a tea light on, and you've got an altar that you can pack away when you're done, okay? And at the point where you are able to have the altar, then all joy to you, and I hope that it's everything that you dreamed of. But there are other ways to get that same feeling if this is not a situation that you can be in right now. So yeah, let me know your comments down below. I actually have quite the philosophy about altar setups, guys. I have certain rules, certain preferences, certain things that I've learned over time make the altar space better and more exciting for me. And I'm going to be sharing those details in an exclusive video for my Afterthought series over on Patreon. So if you are a Pop-Tart or a Dollface, go over onto Patreon and check out my Afterthoughts episode. I'm going to let you into some of my theories and philosophies around creating a beautiful altar space and the kinds of things that I've learned over the many moons that I've had altars that will help you to really like just kick things up a notch, okay? If you are not a member on Patreon and you want to see the Afterthought series, you can join down below clicking the link, okay? It's for Dollfaces and Pop-Tarts. But if you want to join as a cupcake, they don't receive Afterthoughts, but they receive tons of other stuff. All of the tiers receive a one-card riff, printable, an audio offering, there's Discord access, there's stuff going on. Patreon is pretty fucking packed. So whatever tier you want to go on to, come over and be a part of it. So much love until next time, my darlings, and blessed be.